Part 19. And if you have a screen capture program, you should turn this off. And then I'm going to grab screenshots here. I'm really going to show you, this is where I left off last time. And we're going to continue here, but let me show you how good the text looks. And if you take screenshots here and go over them, I think you'll appreciate the kind of cleaning up that's been done and removing double speak, getting rid of things that Jesus just would have been lying if we left every word in there, or babbling about things that really weren't as truthful as they are now. When you see this kind of editing that I'm doing and are able yourself to understand what is wrong with the text, by me, I really try to go in depth here to show what our Creator has given me to be able to correct the truth. There's a lot to know because I know people are living their lives, but there are others of you that do study the text. And I'm sure a lot of those that study the text probably have a lot of questions as to why isn't the text always truthful? I mean, words being used wrong. Example, the yellow text here that I got here, I'm still not sure if that's the right word I'm going to stay with. Example here, this would have been what people refer to as our Lord's Prayer, yet you're asking, or in it, he's asking, please give us our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those. You're asking for our Creator. So this is known as what's known as a petition and not a prayer. To correct the words and have them mean what they mean, a lot of the text can be revealed by understanding what the rest of the text around the words mean or are saying, to be able to, like I said, take the word prayer out and put the correct word in petition. So it's our Lord's petition, but what he was doing at that time was giving us an example of how to petition him. Other than that, you can see that you've seen it started in chapter 5, we're in chapter 6, and now in 7, and all these verses here, you can tell Jesus is still talking, so it should have been under one chapter, or one group or one chapter, but they didn't. And I tried to explain a little bit of that as to why they have confused people and try to force them to say what they want you to, or how they want you to read things. And I gave this example here to show how many times the word is being used wrong. What you're seeing at the right side at the bottom is the English word, and in the parentheses is how many times did they use that English word when that Hebrew word came up, such as, this is an example of Genesis 1:7. Or if you look at the very top box on the right-hand side, that is the Hebrew word in English letters, and it's coinciding with the left-hand side. When I click on the word which, this is what happens in this Bible program that I got. It no longer exists, but what you see down on the right-hand side below it are all these other words that they're using when they're putting, they put their own understanding on the sentence, okay? They change so many words that when you see this, it just should shock you, one, and two, understand that those that are editing the Bible are doing this on purpose. So they are not the good guys. What Jesus did tell us to do, he did tell us to become more righteous than the scribes, and to tell the truth at all time. And that's kind of what I'm doing, going through the text here and trying to teach, as well as to tell you what truth is. Here I'm giving this verse 28. Okay, oops. I can't get rid of that box thing there at the top, but this is the verse, and then you can see on the next one down is my correcting. The text in blue I took out. The word that I wanted to correct here is multitudes, change it to crowd. I need the word was instead of the word were. And it wasn't at his teaching, but by his teaching. When Jesus went through all those things that he was talking about, this was something the crowd was amazed at because they weren't taught this way. They have never specifically had someone trying to guide them into heaven. So this is what they were amazed at. So it was the crowd that was amazed by his teachings, because you've seen him, there was many teachings, and it just wasn't teaching, it was teachings, because you've seen so many different subjects. For he was teaching them as having one having authority and not as their scribes. Very good. I guess I caught up to that verse. But the object is he was not teaching, he taught. These were taught to them. If you're going to be the writer that wrote this, the word taught to me was the better word than teaching. He taught as having authority. So can get rid of all these other words that there's still. This word here is a word that in 1977, the New American Standard wanted to add that word. So I can get rid of that word and still be, have the text speak more truthfully and not like their scribes. I don't know how they actually went into a synagogue and listened to who was up there, but I wouldn't call them scribes that were up there. I would say there were scribes still rewriting the text and editing the text and stuff like that. But I would call these people teachers, not just scribes, because when you're in front of a gathering of people, I don't think you'd have the scribes all over land doing this. The scribes I've got is the way the text is going to be laid out. Scribes have a role as editing the text for what teachers would use, okay, to teach from. So the judges would go by that, the lawyers would go by that text, and your elders and people would go research the text. Priests were supposed to be able to have access to the text to show people, but most likely the common people did not go around like we have Bibles today. People have them all over the place. They were in control. They needed control over the text to have authority over people. Example, today we have people in government here in the United States, they out and outright lie. They don't care what they say. They just want power. And it's just absolutely sickening how they lie and cheat to get away just to stay in power. But can you imagine without how it was 2,000 years ago, the people that were just poor were kept poor and dominated over, and they could do whatever they wanted to. So it wasn't a pretty picture then. So this is what the verse is going to look like. He taught as having authority and not like their teachers. Okay. And that would have been the person writing down the story about Jesus. And the text that you're getting revealed, seeing the revealing here, is or was written right after Jesus ascended into heaven. They went around and gathered information there. To say the text was written later, they wouldn't have wrote in Greek. Poor people aren't bilingual. Jesus wouldn't have spoken Aramaic. He would have spoken Hebrew because the people were poor. They weren't bilingual. So a lot of what you're getting taught as truth has been a deception to you. Let me show you some more easy corrections that can be done. He came down from the hill. Not that he had come down from the hill. He came down from the hill, and it would have been the hillside. Oh, I changed the word mountain. There are no mountains in Israel to say as mountains because the land structure there, the east of the Jordan River, there's land there that is definitely higher up than anything that's in Israel. And this is where the text would have Moses looking down upon the hill country or the hilly country that he could look down and see. Now, I'm considering a mountain as as snow cap, because there is a snow cap mountain. What is that? Mount Carmel, I think, up in Lebanon. And there's a few other places that are very high. In America, we have a mountainous range that doesn't have the Appalachian Mountains. They don't have snow on them. Yeah, but they are a higher altitude from the land itself, and then rises, and then you got maybe another 400 or 500 miles before you get to sea level. Israel is only so wide. I think it's maybe 60 miles wide at this time, and then when you look at maps and look for those things, I'm saying that they're hills. Now, these hills have flat peaks or flats to them, so they can be called a mount, but you can't consider them a mount like what I'm talking about when Moses looked down on the land over there. There's, I think, 4 mounts on the Jordan side there, all the way from the Dead Sea along the border we know as Jordan today. Anyways, take a look at your maps and you'll understand why I'm not using the word mountain. When he came down from the hillside, the large crowd still followed him, meaning that he was going to now travel. Now, I've been showing locations as to where Jesus is at this time. This text doesn't have that information except for that he was up by Lake Galilee. And if you look around Lake Galilee, there is no mountains. So the hillside would be very acceptable to say that's where he would have walked, or he walked up the hillside part way, just so people in this great crowd could see him. But as he was walking, and I'm still thinking that he's up by Lake Galilee, a leper came to him and bowed down. You don't need the words "to him." We know that when he came up to Jesus, that he would have been bowing to Jesus, and he said, not saying, he said, "My Lord." And again, he's putting that he believes Jesus is who he is. This is why he says, "My Lord, will you make me spotless?" Now, a leper, they have spots where the skin turns white, and it is contagious. So that's why lepers stay away, are to be stayed away from. But he would not say, make me clean. The word clean is just stupidity. Anybody can wash, even a leper can wash, but he wants to be healed. He wants to be made spotless, these white spots all over the body. So this is a misused word. It needs to be corrected by saying spotless. Next, he stretched out his hand and touched him. Well, it doesn't need to say that he stretched out his hand. Jesus touched him because he's bound before him, so he just touched him and said, I am willing. And by him just saying that, he doesn't need to say be clean, be cleansed. He touched him, and people, that's how he was healing sometimes, just touching and saying, I'm willing. And immediately his leprosy was healed. Okay? Not cleansed. Again, this is the deception in the text I keep telling you people about, that these words like this are, you should be able to spot immediately and have that understanding that you could correct that word to be more truthful than what's in any of your Bibles. I mean, I think I've spoke too many times against those people that are editing the Bible to do it here again. And then Jesus said to him, I had the word then, of course, but these words here that I've got in red, where he's saying, see you tell no one. Well, he did it in front of a multitude of the crowd. The crowd's still following him when the leper came up to him. And Jesus is going around proclaiming who he is, so he would never say that word, those words right there. That's just a outright lie. He wants everybody to know he has arrived, their king has arrived, and after he passes on, that the kingdom in heaven is available for you to exist or to live in forever. So, but get rid of those words, then we just pick up where go to, okay, I see, I was trying to say show yourself. Go to your priest, okay, where the text is saying go show yourself to the priest. Now, you got to understand, each tribe has a priest. They're still living on their descendants' property or tribal land that was assigned to them from Joshua. They were still trying to do that. They might not have been all correct at doing this, but a lot of them would do this. And to just show yourself to a priest is not any priest. They have to show them to their priest for their tribe. Okay, so go show your priest is the way, to your priest. So I need to your priest. Go to your priest. And offer your offering that Moses commanded as your testimony that you were healed, more or less. So I don't need the words them and don't need the word that, but to present, what are you presenting? Why are you going to the priest? Jesus is referring that there is text that we don't have today that there was when people were healed by prophets, that they were to be witness of that prophet, and they were supposed to go to their priest in Jerusalem or at the tent of meeting, which was by Shiloh. It wasn't in Shiloh. So they were made an offer. They brought their offering that it's kind of like, it could be like a peace offering type of thing, because so many of the offerings that are in the text that you got as the Bible just never were. They just want money from you. Okay, plain and simple. They want you to listen to them, obey them, trust them, and then give them your money so they can live freely. Stop that. Anyways, uh, Jesus is telling them, make the offering that Moses commanded as your testimony, or you're witnessing that this, that you knew you were a leper and you knew that a prophet had healed you. To have this witnessing that there's a prophet that exists would scare the evil priests. But the object is that's what they were to do. And Jesus is telling them to do this offering in Jerusalem. Okay. And that's this text here that's been cleaned up, went over. And you can see that the subjects are changing here. Okay, I guess this needs to be, I see what's going on. I got this lump paper. When it breaks, it's kind of hard to see the sentence as one. But yeah, that gets on your screen. Okay. Now, after he entered Capernaum, okay, now we have a location. Okay. Where is Capernaum? Let me see if I have. No, I don't have that opened. So let me open this. Oops, wrong one. This. Take it over here. Find what I'm hoping is the maps, because I did add them together and trying to be quicker at getting the maps. Okay, ta-da. Here is where Capernaum is at. You might have to understand that this is Lake Galilee, and Jesus walked along the shore. This is James and John, Peter, and I'm thinking, who else? There's another disciple. I think there's 4 of them now, but now they're up in to Capernaum here. And way back, I think almost in chapter 4, is where we learn that this path he's going to take of going over here, almost, the text says he's going to go on the other side of the river here, but then he's going to end up visiting here. But before I get ahead of myself, this is where Capernaum is at. Just for you to now know, we have a location where Jesus is at. And a centurion came to him, and he didn't entreat him. Let's get it to where a 12-year-old can read it and understand it. And he asked him, okay? And asked. Don't need the word him. And again, this centurion has to be an Israeli, even though it seems that he is working for the Romans, okay? That he is saying, my Lord. So he's acknowledging Jesus as his Lord and King. Should I go through here and change all the words from Lord to King? I will at some point, somewhere, when because Jesus that's what he is teaching them, is that his kingdom is coming, or his kingdom will be in heaven very soon. So he's teaching them as a king. And I know the people would, the king is supposed to be the one who is living the best he can to our Creator, because our Creator put him at such a high position among the people, and that he was acting like a king is more or less like an absolute rule. There's not a rule under our Creator's laws. And if it's to go to war or whatever, he makes the call. Yes, he's supposed to seek out the prophets and ask them, but um, I'm trying to make a point here that a Lord is like a father over everyone. Because he's over everyone, he's a Lord. Over his family, you would call him father, but the title Lord is much like the title father, except for that it is over many people. My servant is now laying paralyzed at my home. I wanted to put it as in first person because they have my servant is lying paralyzed at home and is suffering with great pain. So I'm just adding words here to put it as a first person would be saying, telling Jesus that he's not really here, but now I'm laying paralyzed at my home type of reaction or trying to give you that visual in the story as the word is being told. And Jesus answered him. He didn't say to him, he answered him, I will come with you and heal him. Okay. Now the centurion, he replied. He didn't answered and then said. He replied, again, my Lord. And it doesn't need these words here. Even though he might say them, but the words here, just say your word and my servant will be healed, is so, it's taking what, you got to imagine the Israelis were, for hundreds of years, were waiting for Jesus to come. Then they all went into captivity. Then they're sent back to live on this land. And then they're told that he's coming to them then. So this is only the belief of the Israelis. The bad Israelis are known as Jews. They don't believe in Jesus. So the thing here is all of a sudden, here he's working for the Romans, and he's worked his way up to a higher position here. And he just says, because he's what he's hearing about Jesus being said over and over, everything's coming out. He just says, just say your words. Now that is a very strong trust that Jesus is who he is, and he has been waiting for him. So I am not worthy for you to come under my roof. I just don't think these words are really needed to get the point across, because the more important words are just say your words and my servant will be healed. Then he's going on, for I too am a male with authority. It had under authority, but don't need the word under, with authority, because that's what I'm saying is this position that he has as a title as a centurion. For I have soldiers underneath me. This is why I'm saying centurion has to be a Roman, but he also has to be an Israeli working with the Romans under me. And now I had to add the word when. I say to one of them, go and do, he goes and does. Okay? So this is better said than if I say to this one, go, he goes and he goes. That isn't what he's asking for here when he said, just say your word and it will be done. He's understanding that, like him, he's giving out orders to just say, go, but do this when you go. So he's more or less go and do. You can't just say this to one go and he goes. You got to have the command to be with that. So I had to add the words go or do and does. Now, another one comes in, and to my slave, do this, and he does this. It's hard to make a lot of sense out of these words right here until you clean it up. And I don't even need to clean it up because he's already saying what he really needs to say. I too am a male with authority. I have soldiers under me. When I say to one of them, go and do, he goes and does. Okay, so this is why he said, just say a word and it will be done. It's his trust that Jesus only needs to speak it. Speak the words. Doesn't need to touch, doesn't need to show off in front of people. You just say it. I know you can say it. So these verses, you can see I'm throwing out some here. So let's see. Yeah, when Jesus heard him, he said he didn't need to marvel. Remember, Jesus knows a lot of things. So it's kind of like he didn't need to marvel. He said, truly um, I say to those who are following who? Following me, you'd have to put the word me in there. But all these words are really not really necessary except for he said, and then get to the sentence what he said. Truly I say, I have not been asked from anyone with such trust in me. Not great faith, trust in me. You That's what I was saying. Those words were so important. They're at another level. And this is what Jesus is also going to teach about what he said. So, because one, I have not been asked, found. They use the word found here. Come on now. I have not been asked from anyone with such trust in me. Okay. Because everybody was bringing them. Well, those are stories coming up soon. Okay. Now, when I say many will come from the east and west and recline at the table with Abraham, excuse me, there's this recline at a table with Abraham. These are added words. Rest with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. And rest with them. I remove these words because let's see, how do I? He hasn't yet taught about what happens after he uh, leaves Earth and what will happen yet. These things will be true, but they're said better later. Okay. This verse here, many will come from the east and west, because see, this teaching this is so out of order, okay, that it just doesn't need to be here. There's better teaching later. The verse is gone, plain and simple. But he's referring to other people that will are outside the nation of Israel. When they enter into heaven, they will be able to talk with the great forefathers of their nation. Okay, so that doesn't have any. Here it's great faith, but trust in me is where I've got it here. So when you say how many will come from the east and west, it's Jesus is not tying it to these words here, not found with anyone in Israel. But there will be others that will have their belief taken to another level. But I doubt if they're going to be any higher than what this centurion said to him, because Jesus uses him as a teaching example about from everybody that I've talked to and the multitudes that I've been, because you got to remember, he's went through, let's see, if I do this, and that didn't come up, I do this, he's walked from here down to here, went over here, somewhere in here he was baptized, he's up here, then he went up in here, he's at the top of Lake Galilee right now. Whoops, sorry about that. You can't see where I'm pointing. Jesus started out in Jerusalem, but this book doesn't say it. Then he went up to Nazareth, but this Matthew's pretty much has him starting here, and he goes through, I believe, on this side, then across here to John, then he's going up here, and now he's in Galilee, and now he's going to return, come down this way, but right now he's up at the top of Galilee. So when he says all the people that he's had multitudes around him, they're still unsure, or were unsure. They wanted to see it, the multitudes, some kind of like, let me see this guy first, type of thing. I can see that's what Jesus is referring to and trying to teach, because no found anyone such trust in me. Okay. The sons of the kingdom will be cast. Okay, here, this is just odd. Sons of the kingdom will be cast into outer darkness. Sons of what kingdom? Okay. If there is his kingdom, they are going to be cast in the outer darkness. But the sons of which kingdom? Okay. It doesn't make sense. But we know that, and it's just that sons, it will be many people that don't believe will be cast into what's known as the outer darkness, or the abyss. This is the abyss, a darkness, into an outer darkness, meaning separate from where they're at, outside the realm of his kingdom in heaven. And in that place they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. See, all of a sudden now, this is where it is almost like the second coming, that this is the eternal place for them to be at. And that is not the truth. Jesus can't be ahead of himself. So when I was kind of talking up here about not having the knowledge of the second coming, that Jesus is going to be, one has to ascend to heaven, and then this allows him to call people from other nations. These things are getting out of order. So these verses will not be needed or used at this time. There are better, so don't think they're completely lost. Okay, getting close to the 40-minute mark here. These verses here, he said, he doesn't say need to say to the centurion, they're talking one-on-one, so that's just not really needed. Go, this will be done for you. Go your way and let it be done for you. Now, let it be done for you, okay? This is Jesus commanding, let it be done. No, it will be done. Jesus talks with a surety and wouldn't say, let it be done. He did it, okay? He knows this. This will be done, okay, for you, because you came to me and knew me as your Lord and King, and believe that my kingdom is going to be in heaven. Yeah, here he's trying to, for you have believed. And a servant was healed that hour. Don't need this here. You have believed. He already knows That's why he's saying this will be done for you. So this is the text that just went over here and got explained enough to say that this is a better representation of the words than what they were. Okay, I'm going to stop it here. I'm trying to keep them under 40, or 40, 45, so this one's good. I know the